Yo, good morning. Day 21. Whew. Okay, good morning and welcome to my regular 30-day challenge. And yeah, we've reached day 21, which is amazing. And honestly, at the beginning of the year, I didn't expect to get this far. I didn't expect to also have so many of you subscribe and leave comments and like the videos. I kind of just expected it to just fly under the radar, no one see it. I had no idea how the YouTube algorithm worked. Basically, I've been using YouTube for years and I've rarely ever subscribed. I might have liked maybe a handful of videos in my entire life, and I've never left comments. So I've never actually interacted in the YouTube space. And I don't know why. I just kind of saw it as a place to go to get to see videos. Kind of like you would go to Netflix and just go there, watch a video, leave. And sometimes I'd watch videos multiple times. I would be, I'd watch hours of someone's content and go through all of the stuff. Never like a video, never subscribe, never leave a comment. And I realized, being on the other end of it, how much of a difference it actually makes when people do that. Because for one, it makes you look more popular, right? That's the main thing. It's good to look more popular because then more people are more likely to come along and check out what's going on. If there's lots of comments, there's something interesting going on, right? And people are getting value. And the comments, I finally started to see the value of it. The comments, it means that someone says, hey, it's worthy of commenting on. And yeah, I never really quite got this until now. So thank you all for involving yourselves in that and for subscribing. We're up to 80 subscribers now, which, considering I was at 1 3 weeks ago, is quite substantial. So thank you. Today. There is another 6 days that I have ahead of me of doing personal development work. And I'm going to be in a room for 6 days, 10 to 12 hours a day. And we're going to be doing a process that's called holographics. And really difficult to explain this. The way that it's run, basically, I'll tell you what happened after the first time I did this holographics process and I had it done on me. It's essentially taking moments of your past, taking circumstances that you think are unbalanced or incomplete. Let's say you might think that you're, I don't know, for example, it's a good example to use. Let's say your dad wasn't around as much as you wanted him to be. That could be taken in so many different ways. You could have it taken in a way of, well, he wasn't there, therefore I hate him. Or the other side where you this is kind of being, oh, I'm glad he wasn't there. Now, what the holographics process does is Cody, who runs it, he takes all of the things that we feel unresolved around, especially around a certain person, and will have us unpack that. All of the lower layers of it, all the guilt and the hatred and the shame and all of that. And also acknowledge the qualities that we've gained from that parent being that way. And so it might be the things that he was able to teach you, he was able to teach you. The things that he wasn't able to teach you, he actually taught them to you by not being there because he couldn't teach them to you. And so we go through this process, and every single time, sometimes it takes hours sitting in a room, and it gets to this point where your heart cracks open and we start crying. Just naturally, it just burst out into tears. People that don't normally cry. And it's, really, really profound. And so after this point, they emerge in tears, and it's like everything that felt like friction in their life just disintegrates. And it's like, have you ever felt like your life is, you feel like you're running uphill all the time and there's always friction? And he's like, this process has changed my life. So a lot of gratitude for him. And I'm going to be learning how to do this process on myself this weekend. This week. So from today till Sunday, I'll be doing this thing. I'll still be doing my videos, and I'll just be squeezing it in the morning because I'm dedicated to this as well. Now, before I started doing this process on myself, before Cody started doing this work with me, I didn't have the confidence that I have now. It's shifted a lot. Like, I mean a lot. And the way that I back myself now in my life, it's quite profound. I wish everyone could experience it, to be honest. It's, epic. You'll see it popping up over the next couple of years. Like, it's gonna take over the world, not in the best way. Look out for it, holographics. And the guy's name's Cody McAuliffe. It's worth checking him out. Anyways, let's get into today. I forgot to set my timer. 1 sec. 7 minutes. If I don't set a timer, I end up losing track of where I am, and I'll end up going for 40 or 50 minutes. So what I wanted to cover today is, I actually had a couple of questions that people have left comments on on my channel. So I'm going to see how this goes. So there's a comment by Endone3661, and he says, also can't talk to people, also can't talk properly. I never talk to anyone. Actually, in real person, my mind always can't tell what to say. I mean, what can I say if I can't tell what to say? It's on a loop. And Endone, I would say I received received some really good guidance on the weekend. In doing all of this woo-woo energy work, there were so many times where my mind would come up and try to interfere with what was actually coming through, like what was actually I actually wanted to say. And what the mind does is it will run on a loop and it'll start telling stories. So if you're having trouble saying certain words and speaking with people, there will be a loop that goes on in your head that says, I have nothing valuable to say. There might be something that you put yourself down. Maybe you're really hard on yourself. And there'll be a looping story there. There's something that loops around. And this is a stab in the dark, of course. It can often be due to low self-worth. I experienced this for a very long time. And actually, you know what? I do really relate with that. Years ago, years ago, I would have that. So, because I used to have anxious loops, and I was a quiet kid at school. Like really, really quiet. I just wouldn't say anything at all. And I thought I was better off being quiet, not saying anything at all. And what would happen is I would just kind of observe my surroundings, and I was bullied as well. Kids would say things to me and I would just not say anything at all. I didn't defend myself, stand up for myself or anything like that. I just allowed them to say it. And that loop of thoughts in the head, I was like, oh, no, I don't want to say anything. If I say something, someone's going to say something back, and I don't want that kind of attention on me. And so that loop that was running was me not wanting to actually bring attention to myself. Because if I speak, then attention's on me, and then the pressure's on. And so a way to move out of this, it's a gradual process. I wouldn't say it will happen overnight. One thing that you can do if you're talking with someone, this is actually something that a lot of dating coaches talk about, and I've implemented a lot in my practices around simply speaking. When I'm on stage, when I'm in front of people performing music, is I drop my mind. I want you to do this for a moment. If you have troubles with overthinking, imagine your mind and you've got brain emoji. You guys all know the brain emoji. And take your brain emoji and bring it down and place it into your heart emoji. Sounds awfully simple. If you imagine that brain emoji just sinking down into your body, and then try and speak from that place. Even I feel better just doing that now. And if that's not enough, bring the brain down further. Bring it down into your stomach. Or bring it down into your feet. You may find the further down that you go, the more safe you feel and the more grounded you feel. There is this whole thing around feeling grounded when we're speaking. And you reminded me of something too. Thank you. Through that process, I just remembered that before I do these videos, it's really important for me to ground as well, to really drop my energy into my feet rather than be up in my mind. Because up in my mind, it's like this floaty, kind of all over the place. And from that deep grounded place, you can sit there and there's not really any thoughts there. Especially if you've dropped your brain down there. Try it out as a practice and see how you go. Because it's going to be a repetitive thing. Every time you're out in public and you may be feeling anxious or whatever it may be, do that practice. Bring brain emoji down into your heart emoji, or bring it down into your stomach or down into your feet. And it may actually help alleviate some of the anxiety as well. And for any of you doing videos, highly recommend this. Because a lot of the anxiety simply comes from the mind looping. So this leads into one thing that I actually practiced for the last year. And I've put this in a couple of videos. I'm just going to keep talking about the things that are relevant. For the last year, I spent most of the time with that brain emoji in my heart emoji space. And it was after a breakup, because all I could think about was the person that I'd broken up with. And bringing that attention and bringing my brain down into my heart, I was able to give my heart more power and not let this thing run the show. Because this thing's great. Your brain is incredible. It's powerful. It's also a tyrant. It can be a tyrant and it can drive you into madness. Especially when we allow it to run our lives, which most people do. Like random figures, I'm going to guess 99% of people, it does. And it's kind of like a misuse of a tool. If you were to take a hammer and hammer in a nail, it's the right tool for that. What happens if you've got a screw and you pull out a hammer for that? You're just going to cause destruction. And so there are things that the mind is good for. There are things that the heart is good for. There are things that the nervous system, your gut, and your, let's say, the awareness of your body is very useful for. For example, if you're aware of your body and danger enters into the field, let's say you're in a room and someone who is immediate danger, someone that seems very dangerous walks into the room. The people who are attuned to their nervous system, truly attuned to their nervous system, will probably notice what's going on and they will keep calm within it, maybe slightly elated, and they will seek to do something about it, whether they seek to get that person out or whether they leave themselves. That nervous system will help them regulate that. Someone who doesn't know about their nervous system and is working through a lot of traumas within their nervous system, they will go into a flight response or a fight response, maybe a freeze response. And you may have seen this. You see this negatively charged person walk into a room and you get the different types of people that walk up to them. You've got the person who's grounded in their body, the person who is aware of their nervous system and confronts them in a friendly way, or in a friendly or confronting sort of way that isn't suggestive of fighting. Then you get the other person that will instantly want to fight them. That's like this fight response. Then you've got the flight response of the person that just wants to, like, they see that person, they're like, I feel unsafe, I want to get out of here. And then you have, so obviously the first one, that was the parasympathetic nervous system. That is that person that's regulated. And so if you're able to regulate not your nervous system, if you're feeling unsafe, the regulation of the nervous system will help as well. That's simply just taking a breath in some cases. Like breathing into your stomach instead of your chest. And what that will do is actually bring that brain emoji down into your stomach emoji. I'm going to use that terminology for now. It sounds fun. It's way more fun. So yeah, if you bring that down into that space and you take a breath, you're all of a sudden grounded into your nervous system. And so these are tools that you can learn and you can become better at using them. And you will forget them like I did at the beginning of this video. And I feel so much more calm now just having talked about it. And so it's one thing to say, just do the thing, just turn up. Yeah, but how do we do it? How do we actually keep ourselves going? Especially when we're scared, because it's fucking terrifying doing some things for the first time. And everyone experiences different levels of challenge. And I don't know what you've been through, Endone. Yeah, hopefully some of what I've said has helped, and it opened up quite a can of worms for myself. So thank you for the talking topic. It's helped me get through this video a lot more as well. So thanks, bro. Oh yeah, I don't know if you're a man or a woman, so thank you. I just assume you're a man. By the way, most of my audience seems to be male, so that's interesting as well. Muhammad Sami says, I'm having trouble making a hard decision that will affect my life hugely. How do you go about setting on one option over the other when both feel right in their own way? Thanks for that, Muhammad. And This is very real for me because over the last, most of my life, like I'll share some of my personal experience with making choices and how it's changed over the years. I used to make choices based off what seemed like the logical choice. This actually ties in with the first question a lot. So often we make these choices based off what our mind says is right. It might be the logical decision because, well, if I do this, then it makes sense. If I do this, then this other person will be happy. There's one thing, if you're doing it to people please, are you doing it for you or are you doing it for someone else? Another one is when you decided to do it, this is the key here. Brain emoji into heart emoji, same thing. You may not feel it immediately. If you focus on this heart area, this thing is your compass. I'll explain. For most of my life, I made choices based off my mind. And I was like, if it's logical, cool, it makes sense. I'll buy certain things because they make sense. And I end up buying a bunch of materialistic bullcrap that I don't want. Like I wanted, and also would drive myself into financial hardship because of it. And I would put myself in relationships because they made sense in my mind. And when I would get in them, I would have troubles leaving them because my mind would come in with things and it would run in circles. So it become another mind loop. And so I wouldn't want to rock the boat by bringing up how I actually, felt about the scenario. And I would just run loops in my mind. And so I was sitting there with a handful of options that seemed like the right option. And so through my mind's logic, I was able to go, you know what, they're all probably possibly true. Nope, not at all. After I ended up in a relationship for 2 years, it was a friend that I was friends with, and we spent a lot of time together, and it became this, I felt like a real nice guy. Like I was a real nice guy around this girl. And long story short, we ended up seeing each other, and it was beautiful at first. Then my mind kicked in because the choice that I'd made was this. I'd created a story in my mind about why I should do this, why it makes sense. And I dragged it out for way longer than I really could have done. What happened was, we ended up finally breaking up after 2 years. And obviously there was great moments in amongst it. And I'm super grateful for the experience. I've learned a lot. And now, since the breakup, spent all this time in my heart. And I say in my heart because I'm just focused on sensations there. It's not like, I know we talk about being heart-centered and all of that, and it's not usually the most appealing thing to do. But this is like a massive, you're operating at a real disadvantage if you're not aware of what's going on in here. And you'll end up making choices that you may regret a lot. And so this year I've followed this heart, and I've ended up in rooms like the stuff that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. I've said yes to a lot of, to working with certain people that just felt right. I had no logical reason as to why it felt right. And if you've got 2 choices to make, I would ask you to sit down and do a form of meditation. If you've done any meditation before, it simply involves sitting down, taking that mind, and just imagine bringing it down. into that heart space and sit there for 2 minutes for a few days. Make it 5 minutes. If you want to do 10 minutes, if you've done meditation before, sit there for 10 minutes. See if you can get used to being in that space. Because if you spend more time in that space, you'll end up realizing that there are sensations there. This is something to note. Note the sensations. Because some days it might feel cold, other days it might feel warm and fuzzy. Other days it might feel, there might be colors to it. They might feel stabbing one day, and it might feel whatever the sensation may be for you. The reason that people avoid their hearts is because of that sensation that's in there. There might be something in there that you don't want to look at. Maybe there's a real decision that you knew right in the very beginning. Maybe you already know the right decision. Because as soon as you tap into that space and you ask it, drop the brain out, it's going to tell you the right answer. And it may not be the answer that you want. It'll be the answer that you need. And so, for all of you watching, that's the basics of following your heart. This is like the simplified version. Simply become aware of what's going on in your heart, and it's so commonplace for us to avoid this. Our minds can create a whole illusion and fantasy of what love is whilst not actually feeling anything. Maybe we feel it, we don't allow ourselves to actually acknowledge it. Especially when making big decisions, bro. Like, if you make this decision that's going to impact your life, please give it the best chance that you can to make sure it is the right one. And yes, you can maybe never be absolutely 100% certain that it's the right choice. However, by me following this, has led me into some incredible rooms. I've shifted my life around so much, around my confidence and around my trajectory and the way I see the world and the way that I can sit in front of a camera right now. I wouldn't have been able to do this a year ago. Not in the same way. And when we make these choices based out of here, it will probably be scary too. Because it involves you maybe being more of you and maybe less of what someone else wants you to be. And that's scary because for the most part, and for a lot of people, that's all we've known is expectations of other people and how this person and this person and this person and this person expects me to show up. And then how I expect myself to show up based off who I have been over the years. And if this choice also may mean an identity shift. And by the sounds of it, it could be. It means that it's time to move on. It's time to move and follow this. Is you won't ever regret this decision. I will say that with absolute certainty. As soon as you confront the identity shift that occurs with taking this step, like massive, massive changes. Maybe some people in your life won't resonate with you anymore. They won't be operating on the same frequency. Maybe they disagree with what you're doing. Maybe they agree with you. Maybe they cheer you on. That is the inherent sacrifice of choosing yourself, truthfully. And I'll end on this. One of the things that we get told these buzzwords, these phrases that people say, and we hear it when we're growing up, yet no one actually explains what it means and how to do it. Be yourself. You've probably heard this phrase. You've probably heard it mentioned by someone. Hey, just be yourself. The easiest thing to do is just be yourself. Maybe, like my mom used to say that to me, you know, like, just be yourself. And yet there was no guidebook on how to be myself, because all of the people around me, as much as they could say be yourself, weren't really being themselves in the fullest capacity, because they were too worried about what other people around them were thinking of them. Too busy thinking about judgments and consumed in the mind. And so when you can bring that sense of awareness into your heart and become aware of this, you're going to discover who you are. And then you're going to be able to be yourself. I hope that was helpful. And thank you for listening. This was day 21. And if you've got any more questions, if you'd like me to go into anything, leave a comment in the comment section and I can look at it for tomorrow or the next day. So what I'll do is, if you've left a comment, I'll tell you in reply which day I will reply to it on, so that you can tune in. And yeah, have a great day, guys. And I really enjoyed going into that topic. The questions really help. That's super cool. So yeah, any questions, I'd love to go into it. And also for Endone and Muhammad, if you enjoyed watching this video, like, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear if it actually helped or if it was way off the mark, because it all helps me a lot on the whole scheme of things. So yeah, have a great day, guys, and see you for day 22. Oh, also, I'm going to be going live on day 30, officially going live. So that would be cool and exciting. So I will let you guys know what time that is, so you can tune in from wherever you are in the world, and it'd be cool to chat with some of you. So peace.